All right, it is time to get down and dirty. So, welcome everybody. I'm actually so very excited to talk about this topic. Obviously, I love sexy new revenue streams. I probably love sexy new revenue streams more than the average person. But this one in particular is awesome because there's a low barrier to entry and a very high reward. And very rarely do those things kind of like come together. Usually, if something's really high reward, it takes a lot of effort to get there, but this is one of those that I think is a fit for every pharmacy, no matter like what type of pharmacy you are. I think this is something that you can participate in, obviously as long as you're the dispensing pharmacy, and it's going to help your patients. That's what we're all here for. We're here to help patients first, and also, by the way, make you some money in the process, which is the perfect win-win-win. The 503B Goldmine. Many of you are looking to, fill some gaps that are coming up because of May 22nd and other dates coming up. So we're here to help you with that. So if you don't know me, I am Dr. Lisa Faast, owner of Diversify RX. I also own a couple of pharmacies. Always looking for some more. So if you ever have any, feel free to reach out. I also host the Pharmacy Profit Summit, and we have Pharmacy Badass University for independent pharmacy owners to help you make your pharmacy more awesomer, as I like to say. So here's all my contact information. Feel free to reach out, ask any questions. If you're watching this and the recordings, I know a lot of you register and you're like, hey, I can't watch live. No problem. We'll send you the recording as long as you're registered. And so this is all of our contact information. Those of you that are members, you're going to recognize this. This is our pharmacy profit matrix. We are playing in this lovely little area called compounding growth. And I know a lot of you aren't compounders and probably ignore this on the pharmacy profit matrix, but that's what we're going to be talking about today on how you can get in, help your patients get the unique medication that they need that isn't serviced by commercial products, and grow compounding revenue without actually being a compounder. All right. I got to pitch you something, right? So here's your ticket. Prices are going up in June, guys. So you want to be at the Pharmacy Profit Summit. I don't want you paying more. You don't want to pay more. So just buy it at the dirt cheap price now for $350, guys. When you buy early, I'm saving you money. And if for some reason, you figure out you can't come, you can refund your ticket by December 31st. So get your ticket, come to the summit. It's going to be bigger, better. We're moving to a new property. We're going to have lots of fun. We're having a Western theme. Finally, my redneck jeans are becoming useful. So we're going to have lots of fun stuff happening at the summit. So grab your ticket. $350, dude. And it is not going to get any better than that. So buy your ticket now, and we'll see you in Dallas next year. It's already been a couple of months since the last one. Time is flying by. All right. So with me on the webinar today, I have two wonderful gentlemen from Olympia Pharmacy, Hayden Goldman and Joshua Fritzler. We've got, they're the heavy hitters over there. So I brought them on to help answer any questions, about Olympia. How we're going to go through this today is after I let them do a quick intro, I'm going to go into 503B dispensing, kind of tell you what it is, how to do it, how we can support you, help you see the opportunity that's out there. And then we're going to open it up for questions at the end. So if you have questions, don't wait until the end. You can just put it in the chat, and we will answer the questions at the end. And of course, I will do it along the way as possible as well. So really quick, let me give you the basics on Olympia Pharmacy, and then I'll let Hayden and Joshua add some of their pepper and salt in there and add anything they want. So Olympia Pharmacy is a FDA registered 503B facility. And if you're not familiar with 503B, 503A designations, I will dive that into all those details for you. They were probably one of the first. I don't really know who was first, but they've been a 503B for a really long time. They registered March 10th of 2014 was when they first registered at a 503B pharmacy. So they've been doing this for a long time. There's a bunch now. You guys are probably, getting a bunch of cold calls and things like that. We're going to talk about how you can vet 503Bs. Make sure you're working with somebody. I don't recommend, if somebody just picks up the phone and is like, hey, can I sell you a bunch of stuff? You need to do a little bit of due diligence, and not all 503Bs are created equal. That is for sure. One of the reasons I love Olympia is they have a very broad catalog specializing in wellness. And the reason that I think this is important is I always say people will pay for sex and vanity. And so they have lots of great compounds that help people feel well, help them with their sexual health, help them look better, lose weight, all the things that people are willing to pay cash for, which is what we want. That we want to sell the people the chocolate that they want, right? So those are some of the things. So I'm going to show a pretty picture of their facility here because it's awesome. And I'll hand it over to Joshua and Hayden and let you guys add in so many details about Olympia, your history, anything y'all want to share before we get down into the dirty details of 503B dispensing.
Cool. Hayden, I'll let you kick us off.
Okay. My name's Hayden. I am the director of commercial sales here at Olympia. Funny enough, Lisa, the facility you have up on the screen is our newest 503B facility that we just recently launched, actually grand opening a couple weeks ago in Wesley Pharmaceuticals. It's going to be more geared toward high yield manufacturing, really looking at expanding our footprint, with 503A fulfillment partners. This is going to increase our total output on a weekly basis for vials produced, probably upwards into the 500,000-600,000 vials weekly. What is one way you can offload 500,000 to 600,000 vials? It's certainly going to be 503A fulfillment partners. So it's something that Josh and I really made a priority over the past year. And, just so happened to have a conversation with Lisa, and, that's all she wrote from that standpoint. But yeah, that's a little bit about me, a little bit about the facility you see there. I'll hand it off to Josh to kind of get the 30,000 foot overview.
Yeah, thank you, Hayden. You can kind of see those bars behind my window. We are actually in that facility now. So we moved all of our administration teams. So all the teams under me. Hayden runs our commercial sales. We do have patient sales and existing sales teams that can kind of help with our physicians and continuing ordering and introducing new products. So yeah, like Lisa mentioned, we've been around for 15 years. Some of our big product lines from our B, so we do non-sterile compounding at our A, but from a sterile compounding perspective that we can outsource to your facilities, we do a lot of sexual health and wellness. So erectile dysfunction, Trimix is a really big seller. Hayden and I have been in talks with Henry Meds and some big clients to market it nationwide, so that becomes more popular for other pharmacies to do fulfillment. We do a lot of IV and vitamins, injectables, so both IM and IV. We do a lot of sub-Q injectables. We are at 503B, so we do a lot of shortage items. So the semaglutide and the tirzepatide. Liraglutide, if you are getting scripts, is our next mover that launches June 11th. So that's kind of to fill that void because we're no longer going to be making semaglutide May 22nd. We do a lot of vein care. There's a lot of other product lines that we have, like lipotropics, MIC, L-carnitine for weight loss and boosting your metabolism, boosting your immunity, like Trimune. I know Lisa has our catalog and she can share it with the whole team, but we've really specialized in manufacturing where we try to leverage our expertise in manufacturing with your expertise in fulfillment, and we make a really great partnership to the point of profitability. We are very, very comfortable with quote unquote profit sharing, where we can make sure your vial price is low enough to where there's a margin for you to not only dispense, but to make money to grow your profit line. And we work hand in hand with thousands of pharmacies across the country to really grow and expand your product offering, whether that's telehealth that you'll do the fulfillment for, whether it's your local physicians that send you their scripts. We can provide all those products to stock on your shelves, and there's a lot of margin for you. And I won't take up too much time, but we're really excited to be here. Lisa, thank you again for inviting us.
No, I think that's a great overview. You're spot on. So you guys do a ton of wellness. Again, it's those types of things that people want to pay for. Like nobody wants to pay for their cardiac medication, but they'll pay for their erectile dysfunction medication, right? So it's the products that people want that get the effects that they want, that aren't currently serviced by commercial products, and it's at prices that you guys can pharmacies can participate. So
just to touch, Lisa, it is cash based, so there's an opportunity where you do not have to take insurance, and there's a lot of profit there. And I'll hand it back.
No, you're spot on. That's actually the very
first.
Nice.
Okay.
So why you're here, why you're on this webinar, right, is you want more cash-based revenue, right? Like we're all tired of getting screwed by the PBMs. Some of you have gone off and done cash-only pharmacies, which is great. And some of you, kind of like longingly wish to, but most of us deal with the PBMs. So you want to move away to where you just rely less on PBMs. So you want more cash-based revenue. You're tired of the shrinking margins from the PBMs. You want to help replace the GLP-1 loss, whether you're a 503A, 503, or you were selling a 503B, you're losing because of the taking it off the shortage. I'm not going to get into the whether you should compound it or not. That's a whole other different webinar, but many of us are losing revenue. And most importantly, it's our patients. The patients are losing their access to something that was helping them reach the health goals. And there are other options, guys, and we'll talk about some of those. So, and you just want to looking to help more patients. I know as a compounder myself, I never did sterile compounding in my first pharmacy. California was a pain to do sterile compounding. That was right after all of a bunch of debacles with some steriles. So I only ever did non-sterile. And it was always one of those things. It's like, man, there's so many other ways I could help patients if I could just get sterile. And so it's a great way, whether you're a non-sterile compounder or not a sterile or not a compounder at all, if you can help your patients with unique products that otherwise they may not have access to. So if that's why you're here, then 503B dispensing is your new BFF. I promise you, this is going to be a revenue stream that you want to take advantage of. So really quick, just to make sure everybody understands what we're talking about, a 503B facility is a FDA registered outsourcing facility. All right. And outsourcing means that they can compound in bulk. They don't need patient-specific prescription. So your normal typical pharmacy, which if you're not a 503B, and very much you would know if you're a 503B, it's hard as heck and really super expensive to do that. You're a 503A. And so you have to have a specific prescription in order to dispense a compound. So they don't need patient-specific. And they have just some different rules. They have some rules that make some things easier for them, and they have some rules that make some things harder for them. It's different rules than 503A. I know when the 503B dispensing really became a little more mainstream with the GLP-1s, there was a lot of questions like, how can their beyond use dates be so high? And how can they do this? And how can they do that? It's because it's different rules than what the 503A goes by. They have a different list of okay to compound than the FDA than what the 503A. So you'll see some differences there. And it's important that you don't look at what they're doing through a 503A lens. You need to look at it through the 503B, which is they follow CGMP. All right. So the good manufacturing practices, that allows them to do a lot of things that 503As can't, such as beyond use dates. We've seen products at a year, right? Which a 503A can never do that. So there's a lot of things that they can do that we can't. And I know some people are like, oh my gosh, they're not doing it right. That's because you're looking at it through the lens of a 503A, not from a 503B. And 503Bs are regulated by the FDA. So yes, there's other licensings and stuff that they have, but 503Bs, the FDA is their most important regulator, whereas 503As, your most important regulator is your state board of pharmacy. So there's a little bit of differences there. And absolutely, Pam, slides will be available for sure. So when you order from a 503B pharmacy, the experience for you as a 503A is very much just like dispensing any other prescription. Very much like dispensing from, you order from Cardinal, you order from your wholesaler, you fill the prescription, you dispense it to the patient, you consult the patient. Very much similar process. So you order from a 503B, you dispense the medication to a specific patient, individual patient, you provide the consult. You're not compounding it, just like you didn't make the Nexium pills, you don't make the Trimix injection, right? Same type of thing. So you're responsible for dispensing. The 503B pharmacy is responsible for creating the product. It is allowed in most states. I will say, I know it's not in Mississippi. Mississippi is one of the pain in the butt states, as well as California. California is they're just a pain in the butt all around. But there's probably a few other states out there, but I know for sure those ones are, yes, New York, Joseph, thumbs up in New York. Olympia just got their license, about 2 weeks ago in New York. So thumbs up in New York, yes. So there's probably some other states in there, but I know for sure Mississippi and California are pains in the butts when it comes to 503B. And I will say, hopefully the FDA will finalize all the draft guidance and all of that, which I think will help make it available in like every state. So, and it's important to note, you are not compounding these and you don't carry the compound liability, right? You do carry some responsibility. There's always corresponding responsibility with pharmacies, just like you don't order, I don't know how much but our pharmacy gets a lot of calls from like, hey, we have Ozempic for $700. How many boxes do you want to buy? Like, do you really buy Ozempic from those phone calls? No, you do a little bit of vetting. So same kind of process here. You want to do a little bit of vetting, and we'll talk about that. So why the 503B dispensing makes sense for your pharmacy. I said earlier, it's a low barrier to entry. You're not building sterile labs. You're not doing sterile training. You're not doing any of that stuff. You're basically using the exact stuff that you have now. You have a refrigerator, you dispense, you consult. You don't need large minimum orders. You don't need to spend $10,000 to bring something in-house. So it's a very low barrier to entry. Again, as Josh said, these are cash-based profitable revenue streams, right? PBMs are not involved because they're compounds, right? They're cash-based. And the catalog specifically from Olympia is very much based in what patients want to pay for. Like, they will pay for erections, they will pay for weight loss, they will pay for energy, they will pay for longevity. Like, they will pay for those things that they want because it's going to improve the quality of their life. So again, high patient demand items. And for me, obviously, I still look at everything from a pharmacist perspective first. Is these are very clinically impactful formulations. These are things that work, they're effective, and they're going to help your patients live the life that they want to, which is, yes, we take care of sick patients, but it's also nice to help patients on their wellness journey and maximizing and optimizing their lives as much as possible. So you get to diversify your revenue streams with very little risk and very little investments. So what are some hot products, right? Like, I don't know about you, but all of these products are on my Facebook feed. Of course, I click on lots of drug things. Facebook's probably really confused by like what I'm looking at, but so I see lots of things. But man, NAD is quickly becoming like, I don't know if anything will be the new GLP-1, but it's quickly becoming very, very hot. NAD is everywhere. I was looking to make my son an appointment at CryoNation, and the upsell was, you want to add an NAD injection to that appointment? Like, seriously, it is becoming everywhere. So I gave that one 4 little flames for how hot it is in there. The mic and the lipo shot. So a lot of people are looking for alternatives to GLP-1s. They want to help boost patients' ability to lose weight. So these are some options, and there's a couple of different formulations out there. So these are a lot cheaper than GLP-1s, and they help the body metabolize fat. They help with energy. They help with feeling fullness. Like, there's a lot of things in here on there. Samorelin. I think you guys sold out of Samorelin like last week or a couple weeks ago. Am I right? Like,
yeah. So to Samorelin, very similar to NAD, it's lyophilized. It's the only bottleneck we have to production is how many vials we can put in a lyophilizer. It's about a 72-hour lyophilized cycle. I just wrote in the notes, in July, we plan on releasing a liquid NAD. So it's 1,000 milligrams, 100 milligram per ml, 10 ml fill, fully liquid NAD. That would be much better direct to patient. And we are running stability on a liquid Samorelin as well. So once the GLP goes away and once we transition from a lyophilized to a liquid NAD, Samorelin probably will never go out of stock. But just keep your eyes on our portal for ordering, and we'll give you any updates you need.
Yeah, and so for those of you who don't know Samorelin is in the world of the human growth hormone with HGH. And I have had many friends, family, and patients take this. And of course, it works better in men than women. Like, that's just the way the life is. But it does work in women. But with men, I swear to goodness, you can almost see their body change in front of your eyes. It's a little it is a little magical. It's a daily injection as opposed to obviously the SEMA inters that were weekly, which is why it made it very popular. Liraglutide is coming, which is a daily GLP-1. Trimix, as we mentioned, erectile dysfunction, and then compounded surgery eye drops, which PQ Pharmacy we'll talk about. They're a great 503B for eye drops. So there are definitely hot products from 503Bs that your pharmacy, your providers, your patients, your communities are looking for. They might be going without these options. They might be getting from, mail orders or out of states. We all know that people prefer local pharmacies, local consultations, that local point of contact. So these things are needed and you're not going to have to do too much marketing. Like, the cool thing about GLP-1s, one of the reasons why it took off is you could be a really crappy marketer and salesperson and still sell a lot of GLP-1s. Kind of happening with like NAD, kind of happening like with Samorelin, where you just basically have to tell people, hey, we have this available. And then the prescriptions just kind of come in. So we're getting close. I think the GLP-1s was like a once in a lifetime kind of thing, but that doesn't mean that some other product isn't going to be hot as well. Question, does Olympia assist in marketing material? They have catalogs and they have like information on that. We, as Pharmacy Badass University, absolutely assist in marketing material. So I'll show you some examples of those.
And Lisa, I answered a question on that in the Q&A section. We have some marketing materials available as well for some of the specific products. So that's going to be located within the online ordering side. But when I guess any pharmacy inquires the reps, my reps, they should be providing some marketing materials related to the products that pharmacy might be interested in.
Yep, you guys definitely do have some.
No doubt.
So who can dispense? Again, there's been a lot of chat. So there's 4 states that Olympia doesn't sell into: California, Mississippi, Arkansas, and Idaho. So everyone else can. So you purchase from a 503B, always, again, check with your state board of pharmacy just to make sure. And then you dispense the product by prescription to an individual. You cannot resell that product to a clinic or hospital. Okay. So I actually just got that question in our Facebook group this morning. Hey, can I sell my 503B stuff to a clinic? No, you can't. It has to be an individual patient. So there's always ways around that. I talk with people, like I've done lots of prescriptions for plastic surgeons and for all different kinds of things. There's ways that you can work around that. They can give you the patient appointment list that's coming in the next week. You can type up prescriptions for them, deliver to the office. Like there's a lot of things that you can do to meet the requirements of dispensing to an individual, but you have to have a specific prescription for a specific patient for your 503B products. So you don't need to have a sterile room and you don't need to have a compounding license. I know some states require compounding licenses. You don't need that in order to dispense a 503B. Again, this is super easy to implement inside your pharmacy. Now, as I said before, not all 503Bs are created equal. The FDA is pretty good at identifying the bad players. They get inspected by FDAs, probably in lots of other 3-letter agencies. But so here's how you go to figure out if a 503B is good. Now, I have vetted these facilities that I'm going to tell you about. That doesn't mean these are the 3 only good ones. All right. These are just the ones that I work with, either personally, professionally, my pharmacies use, our members use. So these are ones that I am fully like 100% like they're good. Not to say that there isn't other ones out there. So Olympia Pharmacy, obviously, we got them on the webinar, right? Hopefully they would be good to have on the webinar. I mentioned before PQ Pharmacy, which has a stellar lineup of eye drops, and BPI Labs as well. So those are the 3 that I recommend. Outside of that, I would have to go do a bunch of vetting and researching and making sure they're all good. So like, what can you do what is your due diligence that you should do to know who you're buying from? The FDA makes this really super easy. Go to the FDA website. You can just go to Google and type in 503B registered facilities FDA. It'll take you to the page that's for all 503B registered facilities, and you'll be able to look them up by name. It'll tell you when they applied for their license, when they've been approved, when their inspections are, what the 483s are, all of those kinds of things. So a 483 is kind of a report of findings, if you will, like after an FDA visit. Getting a 483 does not mean they're a bad pharmacy. I know sometimes people are like, oh my gosh, like, look at this, like, it is perfectly normal to get a 483. It's important to read the 483. Some 483s read like a horror story. And it's like, I wouldn't send those medications to my worst enemy from those places. And others are like, oh, this bottle sat for too long without a label, 90 seconds went by and it didn't have a label or whatever. Like you need to read the 483s to kind of understand. And then, sometimes there's a response needed. Sometimes there's closeouts and other letters. So everything the FDA makes it super transparent. It's on their website. So what I would recommend is you have a binder for all your 503B vetting. You print off all this stuff from the FDA website. You stick it in there. That way, when your board of pharmacy comes, they're like, hey, how did you check these guys out? You're like, oh, here it is. I've printed all this stuff. They are who they say they are. And I've verified everything and they are good to go. Yeah, be careful. Don't just buy from anybody who calls you, right? I have actually talked to a few pharmacies. They're like, yeah, especially with the semaglutide, with the deadline coming up, there's a lot of, I call them shady because it's just random people. They're like, yeah, I have, 1,000 vials of semaglutide I'll sell for you for $40, and it's like, just don't buy that. You don't go to the back end alley to buy your regular drugs. Why would you do that for your other stuff? So just do your due diligence of, what's out there. So those three 503Bs that I mentioned, we have discounts with all of them for our Pharmacy Badass University members. So how you find your discount for those of you that are members, log into your website and there's a discounts in the menu. So right here, discounts. Click on that, and then you'll be able to, specifically for Olympia, we have it right up top. You can just click here on that little button in the membership to submit for your account. When you do it that way, they don't have to call and ask me, hey, is this person a member? But if you just call Olympia and be like, oh yeah, hey, I'm part of Diversify RX, then they have to message me and I have to look you up and say you're good and all that kind of stuff. So if you just do it from inside the membership, you're already confirmed, you're already a member, because you don't have access to that unless you are a member. So that's the easiest way to go create your Olympia account. Go do that now. I've had a lot of people be like, hey, all of a sudden my doctor calls me and they want this product. How long will it take to get an account? So yes, you have to do an account. Obviously, Olympia has to do their due diligence. They got to check your licensing and check all that kind of stuff. And so go get your account now so that when you do get prescriptions from your providers or patients ask you or those kinds of things, you are ready to order at that moment. So, and we're talking real revenue here. So Joshua mentioned earlier, these are cash-based, profitable prescriptions. Obviously, the prices that I'm giving you here, what I tried to do is just some generic internet searches in a couple of different areas of the country to kind of get some low end and some high end. So obviously, your local pricing will vary. Yours might be really higher. I don't know if it would be much lower. I tried to find some of the lowest pricing out there, just to be really conservative on what you could be making. And I think, well, we've had members that are charging way more than this and selling tons of it. So NAD, your cost is about $90. You're selling it for, $50 to $70 profit per vial. The mix shots for a 10 ml vial cost about $24. Those sell for about double or triple. Your trimix, again, very popular, and there's lots of different formulas out there. I think Olympia has a nice base of all the formulas out there. Kind of like hormones, doctors can get really micromanaging on that. But honestly, I don't think any of it has a very clinical difference. I think the formulas that they have are a nice clinical base of what most patients are going to need. So your cost is anywhere from $50 to $80 depending on the formula, and you're selling it for at least double that, if not triple. Samorelin, again, we're looking at $50 to $100 in profit per vial. Glutathione is another one of those. It's kind of, I think, a little more regional, but in some places, glutathione is, you see it everywhere when you look at med spas and things like that. They're like, we got glutathione, or, get a glutathione shot here, or whatnot. So again, you're making $100 or more on glutathione. These are high repeat purchases. These are things that people will sometimes continue to stay on. Obviously, it can be shorter term for weight loss, but erectile dysfunction, if a man needs trimix, he's going to need trimix for pretty much for forevermore, unless he goes with a more permanent solution like surgery or whatnot. So a lot of these things are highly repeat purchases. Once you develop those relationships with those prescribers, they're going to start coming to you for a lot of things. And the catalog, obviously, I'm touching on kind of what I consider the hot products, but again, Olympia's catalog is very diverse. They got some little kits. They got a lot of great things that make it easy for you to sell to providers to kind of solve those patients. So are Texas allowed? In Texas, are pharmacists allowed to administer sub-Q or IM? As far as I'm aware, Michelle, I don't practice in Texas. I did own a Texas pharmacy for a little while. And so administering medications, as far as I understand, is in part of the pharmacist scope of practice. I know in states like Kentucky, pharmacists can even order vitamins. So if it's a vitamin, they fill out a form. They have scope of practice in Kentucky where they can order their own vitamins. So you could order the prescription for the vitamins and also administer the vitamins as well. So Rural pharmacies, Jeff, tend to do really well because you don't have a sterile pharmacy in your area. And a lot of times doctors would be like, well, I can't prescribe this stuff because nobody around here makes it. So they kind of like do without. But once you let them know that you have this available, they'll be like, great, I have a bunch of patients that could benefit from this. So, and again, some of these things are wants, like glutathione and NAD. You might say wants and need, like, it makes such a drastic change sometimes in people's lives, but it's a want, so people will want these. They're becoming popular. And the thing that I like about, as much as I hate Henry's or hims or hers or whatever, because I feel like they steal our patients. They also make things popular in a way that we never could. Their budget is, I think I looked up Hims the other day. It was like $50 million a month or something. Like it was something astronomical. Like we don't have that budget. So they go out, they put all the Facebooks and Google ads and everything else out there. They get these products popular, and then you can come in and provide them locally. And so I guarantee you, no matter what community you're in, people want NAD, people want Trimix, people want these types of products in order to help them. So, and inside the membership, I have compound monographs for a lot of these popular drugs for like common dosing, common things like that. So if you need help with that, we can definitely provide that for you if you're a member. So. All right, and these costs on here, just FYI, are including our membership discount price. So depending on the specific product, we get a 20 to 40% discount if you're a member. So the costs on here are with our discount. So if you happen to be looking at a price list or something from Olympia and you're like, hey, those costs are way higher, that's because these costs are our membership discounts. What's the minimum quantity order to start? I'll let one of you Olympia guys answer that.
No order minimums, no order maximums. You can order 1 vial or 1,000 vials. Does not matter.
Yeah, that's a fun question to answer because it's a good answer. So how do you get started? One, confirm the 503B legality in your state, which is most states, like except the 4 that were listed there. Get an account set up with Olympia. Pick 1 to 2 products to launch, right? Like, focus a little bit, pick on something that you maybe feel a little more comfortable in or you've gotten demand for. Train your staff on just having those conversations and talking to patients about it. Just like the launch of anything else. If you all of a sudden start selling CBD, you train your patients train your employees so they know how to answer questions and those kinds of things. So it's just like the launch of anything else. You want to make sure your employees know how to answer conversations. Target your ideal providers, target your patients. There's a reason pharma does direct to consumer marketing, right? There's a reason they spend billions of dollars because going direct to the patient can create the demand, which then creates the prescription. So as much as I also love educating prescribers, I also love having direct conversations with patients so they create the demand and they can kind of request the prescription from the provider. And then start your cash-based offerings, right? Do a little bit of research in your area, figure out what the local pricing is. There's no reason to undersell on these things. There's no reason to race to the bottom. So do a little bit of research for what your local pricing is. I will say if you want to make 20 to 40% more, you join Pharmacy Badass University first. If you're not a member, then go do all those things because then you'll save 20 to 40% on those and make even more profit, right? All right, what is your implementation plan? I told you this is easy. For those of you that are members, we'll guide you through this whole process. We've created a bunch of stuff for you. So obviously marketing, you want flyers, bag stuffers, social media, shelf talkers, all those kinds of things. SOPs for dispensing. Again, that way when your board of pharmacy comes in, they're like, hey, what controls and stuff have you done? You're like, hey, we have a full SOP. This is what we've done. Here's everything that we've printed. We've got that all done for you. You want a pricing strategy? Again, it's going to vary by geography. What you charge in downtown Manhattan might be completely different than North Dakota, which is completely different than Arizona kind of thing. So pricing strategies are going to vary. You definitely want to do some in-store promotion, the patients that are already coming to you, because I guarantee you there are dollars that they are spending outside of your pharmacy for these exact products. Like absolutely guarantee you. And then digital media, guys, like your Facebook, your Instagram, your TikToks. That is the easiest, cheapest way to get the word out of like what's going on. And then we also have some provider outreach templates to try to make that conversation with those providers a little easier. So And again, you'll find all of these as a member. If you go to the pharmacy profit matrix, click on compounding growth, all of these things are going to be right there for you. Try to make it easy for you to find. And then of course, if you are an essentials member or up, we can custom make these for you as well. So our basic members, you get access to all the templates. Our essentials members, we can custom make anything for you that you want with your logos, with whatever specific products that you're trying to promote. So don't hesitate to request those customizations. We're happy to do it for you. So here's some of the things. We've got your playbook, which is step-by-step protocol. We've got all of your marketing materials. All of our stuff is in Canva. So once you add it to your Canva account, you're free to edit and change whatever, however you want. You can put your pricing on there, whatnot. We've got all of your SOPs, all of your pricing strategies. All of that is available within Pharmacy Badass University for all of you that are members. Again, we've got tons. Our team has been busy making all kinds of marketing materials, from bag stuffers and flyers to doctor outreach, all kinds of things. And if there's something we don't have, all you do is ask, and we'll go make it for you. So we've tried to have it completely done for you so that you're successful with this. I don't want you to just hear about this and be like, hey, that's cool, I'm going to open an account, and then you never order, you never get a prescription, because that doesn't help you, right? It doesn't help you, doesn't help your patients. So we've tried to make it as turnkey as possible, and do as much of this for you as possible as well. So what should you avoid when doing 503B dispensing? I say try to do too much too fast. Now, some of you are go-getters and you have a large team and you can do lots of things, more power to you. But if you have a small team, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed with everything going on in our world, just pick one or two products, pick an NAD or Samorelin or something, or a Trimix, where it's very specifically, you can go to urologists, you know who to talk to, you can target, those patients. It's very easy. So start with something and at least get those muscles moving, if you will, right? Don't pre-order. I've done this with lots of different products in my space. Don't pre-order a bunch of products that you want to dispense, and just let it sit on your shelf. Wait till prescriptions come in, or wait till you start talking to providers and figure out what they want to prescribe. Sometimes when you have new access to lines of products, you're like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I want. And you order a bunch and then you don't get it. So educate your prescribers, educate your patients, right? Again, sometimes some of these products like the NAD is hey, we carry this. And that's about the extent of the education it goes. Others, you might have to do a little bit more. Or you might have a provider be like, hey, I really want to get into NAD, but I know nothing about dosing. I know nothing about, how to do this. And so you can use that as a point to educate them. And if you don't know, that's what you come to me for and come to us for, and we'll help teach you what's the norm for that. Don't forget to follow up, right? If somebody orders from you and dispense, especially when you're launching something new, profit is in the follow-up, right? So follow up and, generate more prescriptions from really, really, really great follow-up. What you should do, obviously, reach out and notify your local prescribers. Just talk to them, right? Let them know that what's available may not have been available before, but it's available now. Use telehealth if you have to. Obviously, we've got Brisk MD available, and I'm working with them to get all of the products from Olympia on their protocols, but you can use any telehealth provider if you can't find someone locally. Research local pricing. You want to make sure that you're not way too low or way too high. You want to make sure you're in the same there. Talk to your patients, right? Your patients are the ones that are probably spending their dollars somewhere else because they don't know that they can get it from you. So talk to your patients, let them know what you can now provide, and they can switch their dollars to you instead of to somebody else. And then leverage that you're local. Again, even if a doctor's using, I know in my Oklahoma pharmacy, we started talking already with the clinic, and they currently order from a pharmacy that's in Texas. And it's hey, you now can order from us. We're down the street from you. And they're like, yeah, I like that. So, highlight that fact that you're local. People can actually come in, see you. It's hard to do counseling through a mailbox. And I know mail, it's hey, call us, but how many patients do, right? It's obviously always different when you got a human being on there. So, of course, join Pharmacy Badass University to profit more. We had a couple, okay, looks like you guys are answering those questions. I'll look through them again when we get there. Zach, you have your hand raised. I will click to allow you to talk real quick here. If you want to unmute yourself, Zach. Did you have a question?
I didn't mean to do that.
Oh, alrighty then. Well, it was nice talking with you. So.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. For those of you that are not Pharmacy Badass University members, just really quick, I'm gonna tell you how you can join and how you can get it. Because frankly, the discounts with Olympia, if you just do 1 or 2 prescriptions a month, you more than pay for your membership with the discounts that you get. So I just want to tell you the options that you have. So we have a basic membership, and you do get the discounts at the basic membership level, which is $100 a month. You obviously get other things besides the discount. You get our monthly profit vault. You get access to our templates that we mentioned. It's not customized for you, but you get access to the templates, and they're all Canva, and you can easily edit those in Canva. We have our Essentials membership, which is probably our most popular offering. That's where you unlock the full portal. You get access to live calls. You get access to recordings. You get access to trainings. All of our previous pharmacy profit. You get live calls. Like, that's where you kind of unlock everything. You can get the unlimited custom graphics and whatnot. And then we have our unlimited level, which is when you get one-on-one coaching with our coaching staff, with anybody on your team. And I do mean unlimited. Sometimes you're going through something and you need multiple calls, and sometimes you don't. You also unlock our Pharmacy Growth Hub. So our Pharmacy Growth Hub is our digital marketing service. So that's where our digital marketing team is now your digital marketing team. So we already have all kinds of stuff already created for all of these 503B products. So we can start posting those on your social media, sending out emails, and doing those kinds of things. Turnaround time on custom graphics is about 2 to 3 business days normally. So if we already have you in the system, like if you're a repeat customer, they tend to get turned around more, because then we don't have to upload logos and colors and all that. But your first request is usually two business days. So you also get a free summit ticket at the unlimited level. And with all of our memberships, I don't do contracts. I don't do any of that crap. You can move up or down or out as you need to. And I also offer 90-day money back guarantee on all of our membership levels. So just FYI. So open it up to questions and discussions. I know you've been typing in some question answers, but sometimes it's easier to speak some answers. So I'm going to go back up the chat and see if there's any questions that have kind of like been missed there, but there might be some that you already have that you might want to do, Josh.
Sure.
Here's one talking about the stability testing to determine the beyond use date. What kind of, this says, does 503B products require stability testing to determine beyond use date? And, the answer to that is yes. I don't know if you want to talk any more about that process.
Sure. Yeah. To put any dating on our product, we have to run full stability through the life of that product. So if we put 6 months, it has to run through stability for 6 months, plus 21 more days for AET, which is to make sure the preservative in our vials will fight bacteria for the longevity of your injecting with it, or potentially poking the vial. Absolutely, we're able to provide any C of A for our finished good product testing, any of our stability studies, shipping studies to show the temperature ranges that our products can ship to, because a lot of what you're going to do is drop ship directly to patients.
Yep. Question, what's the holdup in Idaho? So I'm very familiar with Idaho and their state board of pharmacy. Idaho is in my opinion, one of the best state boards of pharmacy in the country. They're really, really protective of their independent pharmacies in their state. So they allow a lot of stuff in their states from 503As that a lot of other states don't. And so they feel like by not allowing the 503B that they're protecting their 503As for providing those services to their patients. So you can always, my friend Corey owns Medicine Man. He makes a lot of stuff for Idaho people. And then we've got Snell's Pharmacies in Southern Idaho. So we have a lot of Idaho pharmacies, but yeah, it comes from a place of trying to protect their pharmacies and the people there. So buy from an Idaho pharmacy. There's lots of ways that you can do this. Again, the Idaho State Board of Pharmacy has made things really easy in Idaho for Idaho pharmacies to fill for Idaho patients. Is really that's their angle with Idaho. Tommy asks, is there a test that they can provide to patients to check if they have a deficiency in growth hormone? I don't know if you guys want to talk about that or if you want me to. For
me, it would be a blood test.
So I mean, yes, there definitely, I mean, that's why they realize when children have deficiencies and stuff. Usually the growth hormone analogs isn't so much a deficiency of growth hormone like a genetic deficiency. It's age related. So we all know that human growth hormone, I think it's like by 20 years old, it's like 50%. And by 40 years old, it's like down by 80%, something like it just naturally drops off as we age. So part of the anti-aging world of medicine is to boost those HGH levels in, once you start hitting over the 30 and 40, to prevent some of those age-related things that come from the natural decline of the HGH. So there are some blood tests, but that's why they use some of these analogs like Samorelin. There's also some others out there that aren't FDA approved. Obviously, I've done a lot of research and wrote a book on peptides, but they get some of the effects of human growth hormone in some of the specific areas. So like Samorelin builds muscle mass and shreds fat, like especially abdominal fat, which I think is why it works particularly. Samorelin is like the dad bod medication. Yes, it'll work for women. It's not that, but it really works for men. It helps build muscle and it sheds that abdominal fat. And so which is the quintessential dad bod. So that's why I've always remembered Samorelin as like the dad bod medicine. They were asking about the trimix, guys. I know you answered it, but maybe you want to verbally, because there's a couple other questions coming in about the trimix of, which are your most popular formulas? How do they know which ones to focus on?
Sure. Hayden mentioned our big seven, essentially, that we market the most. BM3 being our Bimix, has the least amount of PGA, Aprocidil. And then as a list, it would be stronger going down. So T105, T106, F9, SB4, ST1, and QM3. The reason we pick 7 is because you do lose efficacy as you take it longer. So you want to be able to provide a stronger formula throughout. But 7 formulas should last you 30 years or so if you're taking it correctly. So that should be plenty to make sure your sex life lasts as long as you do. With our product catalog, you'll be able to see a chart that shows all 27 SKUs of trimix that we have. So if there's more of a specific formula that you want to provide to these providers or urology offices, you can do so, telling them that, hey, these are the more popular ones. And to that point, I wanted to touch on don't pre-order. I totally agree. Olympia prides themselves in not running out of inventory and providing next day turnaround. So if you are sales pitching trimix or Samorelin and you're really pushing it to your patients or your prescribers, once they give you the okay and send you that script, we can send you that vial within 24 hours and you could fill that script within 48. So it doesn't really it doesn't really require you to store a lot of product. You won't have to put a lot of capital up front. So it's a huge benefit of our next day turnaround to work with these pharmacies.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, quick turnaround time. Do you ship all days of the week, or is there?
No, we ship Monday through Friday. Fridays we aren't going to ship because everything's next day air. So Monday through Thursday, if your order's in before 12, you should get it the next day. If it's after 12, that you run into the potentially us not getting to it that same day, but we are going to try our absolute best. Orders placed on Friday that will ship out Monday, and you'll get it on Tuesday.
Yep.
You have the option to select Saturday shipping. However, it's like a 15 to 20% higher rate of it not getting to you just because UPS isn't as productive on a Saturday throughout the week. So we'd recommend Monday through Thursday placing your orders.
Yep, absolutely. So there was a question about the GLP-1s. Obviously, they're still hot. So I'll kind of answer from a legal of what the FDA said perspective, and you guys can add any color to that. So these products are now going off the shortage list. Semaglutide, the final date for 503Bs to compound is May 22nd, which is 8 days, whatnot away. And again, going back to what I said in the beginning, 503Bs have some different rules than 503As. 503As actually have a lot more flexibility in what they can compound. 503Bs are fairly narrow in what they can compound. They just can't compound anything just because a doctor's order it. They have some guidelines. So with the SEMA, B12, those kinds of things, those won't come from a 503B. Those would come from a 503A kind of thing. So the 503Bs, as far as I know, they're all stopping. Like, I don't know if 503B that's continuing. There are some 503As that are continuing. And again, like whether or not I agree with that is a whole different ball game. But so right. I don't know if you guys want to answer like what you guys are doing with GLP-1s.
Yep. So we've made it solely because it's on the FDA shortage list. We make a lot of products on that list. As soon as it comes off, we were no longer going to make it. We kind of risk the FDA guidance that we have as a 503B, but we also answer to all 48 state boards of pharmacies. So we just are taking an extreme conservative approach. We aren't going to mix it with another product. We aren't going to make product out of our A for that specific personalized dosing. I do think if we were just an A and we didn't have our B and our other licensures, we would potentially look at that option as a risk reward. But Olympia's 60% of our revenue isn't GLPs, so it's just not worth that risk for us. We do have really great sterile A's. If you are looking to do a true central fill agreement, we could definitely hook you up with some of our central fill A's that we partner with that are going to still compound it sterilely after that date.
Yeah, definitely. Those of you inside the membership know that we've been talking about some central fill 503As out there. And I will say, do that at your own risk. I agree. Somebody asked, you have to participate with Olympia. Do you have to be registered as a 503A pharmacy? So you are by default a 503A pharmacy when you are not a 503B, and nobody is accidentally a 503B. So any licensed pharmacy is automatically a 503A pharmacy. And so yes, as long as you're not in a state that doesn't disallow 503B to 503A purchases, you can purchase from Olympia.
Yep. All we need is a dispensing pharmacy, PIC, dispensing pharmacy license. You're ready to go.
Yep, absolutely. Gabe, I'll get you the link for Brisk MD. I don't have those quite on my computer right here. So for that, but yeah, they're inside the membership too. If you just search Brisk MD, that'll come up.
Lisa, can I touch on Brisk real quick? So just on the telehealth, something that we see really booming in telehealth would be liraglutide, would be Trimix, would be the Samorelin, the NAD, all the at-home injectables, even our vitamins and minerals. There's a lot of questions in here about why does a clinic get to order for office administration? They have a medical director on site. They are licensed to administer on site. As a pharmacy, you has to leave your facility with prescription. So working products direct to patient really adds to your value. So intermuscular vitamins that could be IV, but are also IM, NAD, Samorelin, sub-Q injections, Trimix, intercavernosum. Those are the ones I would work with Brisks or your telehealth partners to really go direct to patient.
Yep, absolutely. And I will tell you that those med spas, obviously they're owned by a medical director or whatnot, but local doctors are losing business to them too. So a lot of them want to provide these options and be able to prescribe to the patient. They just don't know where to send them to get them filled. So once you allow them to have a place where they can be fulfilled, that will help them actually retain their patients as well. So they lose patients to whether it's a local med spa or an online telehealth. It's a threat to their business too.
I agree. And their pricing is not going to be as good as Lisa's pricing. So you're definitely going to beat them direct to patient. And then liraglutide is a daily injection. That's definitely a lot more shipped to patient than it is weight loss clinic weekly injection. So that's a huge advantage for you guys as well.
Yep. So there was a question on tariffs you guys asked. So they've got a ton of stock of API, so they don't expect it to affect it. Also, right now, pharmaceuticals are not included. Obviously that can change at any point, but Kevin asked if you can talk about the NAD stock status, talk about that difference of, because you guys got the lyophilized, and
sure.
Talk about that.
Sure. So at Olympia, I mean, our Wesley facility, once it's operational, is 4,000 bottle lyophilizer. Olympia is currently is 2,000. So we can only make around 4,000 a week. It's about a 72-hour cycle. We run it over the weekend and then run it on Tuesdays. So with that increased demand, that's our only bottleneck from a production standpoint. In July, we'll release a liquid form of NAD, so it won't need to be reconstituted. Essentially, lyophilized is just a powder form in that vial where you reconstitute it with bacteriostatic water. This will already be reconstituted, so it's even better for direct to patients, so you don't have that uplifting of teaching them how to reconstitute it. Once our liquid goes NAD, Samorelin will double the amount of inventory we can hold, and then Samorelin will eventually go liquid August, September timeframe, whenever that stability comes back.
Yep. All right. I think we got all the questions. If I missed yours, please speak now. If you have a question and you're listening to the recording, please obviously speak now. Let's see. In the event we contact a medical provider as a potential client, is your pricing to office use clients competitive with your pricing to 503As?
The pricing Diversify is getting is better than any provider pricing that we offer. So,
absolutely. Yeah. And then and to Lisa's point, if you were to order just 3 vials a month, that discount you'd get by being a Diversified member will really make up for that difference. And if you're working with a telehealth, three prescriptions a day or even a month is really low. So there's a huge opportunity to price out these other direct clinics or just price out a lot of your competitors by being a part of this.
Yep. Let's see, Alpa, I will come to you in a minute and allow you to talk. So be ready to talk. We'll answer the question here about the legit script certification. So I think I saw it earlier, but you guys are legit script certified. You want to comment on that just real quick?
We are legit script certified. That was a fun undertaking to have. Essentially, we can be marketed. You can market the product because the product you're getting is legit certified by us manufacturing it. I don't know what other question related to it, but I think that answers it.
Yeah, you can use, so I haven't done a whole lot of Facebook advertising needing the legit script certification. So I've done a lot of Facebook advertising for my clinic, especially last year. We just advertised, we didn't advertise a drug. We just advertised like medical information. So we didn't need the legit script certification, but you should be able to, because the prescription's coming from Olympia, use their legit script certification when you do all your stuff with Facebook. And it's, but it's a little bit tedious, but only do that if you're actually going to put like real money into it. If you're just doing locally, there's no reason. You can just do organic posts. There's no reason to go pay a bunch of money in Facebook ads. Your organic posts are going to be just fine. So Alpa, you are unmuted. Go ahead and ask your question.
Yes. So like for the physicians in my area, the local physicians, they are not aware of those products, like because they work in the old fashioned doctors. So is there any protocol or something for the examples that we can even educate that, hey, if you want to start with those dosing for this indication, just such a like that?
Yeah, Alpha, that's a great question. So with Olympia, we have a team of 7 clinical pharmacists that answer questions that help prescribers write scripts specific to our products. So before you go, if you're going to go to urology clinic, you could definitely shoot us an email and say, hey, I want to promote these trimixes. What's the average dose? How often should they take it? What are the contraindications? We'll give you all that information from 7 pharmacists that are from 9 to 5, 9 to 6, Monday through Friday. You can call them and answer those questions. You can email Ask the Pharmacist at olympiapharmacy.com. We'll help with all those so that the scripts you're receiving are standard.
I called them and I talked to them also for one of the Samorelin injection, but I'm talking for like any printed materials like that I can take to the doctor office.
For specific verbiage on scripts, signatures, directions for use. Is that what you mean, Alpha?
Yes. Sir.
Yeah, shoot us. If you shoot the Ask the Pharmacist an email with that specific questions, I will make sure that team is 5 steps from my office. I'll make sure we give you the information you need. No problem.
Yeah, and we have those available inside the membership too. We have them. So we have compound monographs. We have detailed information on like NAD, and it lists out like a chart, like all the different ways they can prescribe NAD. Obviously, if there's something in there that we don't have, you can just ask us and we'll create it. But we have those inside the membership as well.
Cool. And Lisa, if there's any other templates you want us to help us build just for the general pop, just let me know. Yep,
absolutely. Thanks, Alpha.
Thank you.
All right. I think that's it. You've answered the question. Recording will go out. Also, a copy of the slides will go out with the recording. I know it's a lot of information sometimes, especially if you're new to this. So you want to go back and look at some things. So we will definitely do that. And I'm going to be respectful of everybody's time as we come upon the hour. And the point is there are people in your community that are willing to pay for these. First steps, get your account, get set up, start just telling people. You can go into hardcore marketing later, but you might be surprised by the prescriptions that come your way. And you only need a few to make a real difference, to your bottom line. And especially if you're a Pharmacy Badass University member, with the discounts, 2 or 3 vials of pretty much anything, is over $1,000, can quickly add up very quickly. So, it is definitely possible. You don't have to do tens of thousands of prescriptions for it to make a difference. So, alrighty, I will let you guys go. Thank you, Hayden. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you so much.
Great answering questions in there, and thank for all you do for independent pharmacies. You've helped many survive these last couple of years, and I certainly appreciate it, and I know they do too. So appreciate that, and look forward to maybe having another one of these. So adios, guys.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Lisa.
Bye-bye.
Bye.